Hey Legends, this is Magnus. Just doing another video, and I think this one might be a review of Snow White, a live-action remake. So when they're racing two unique
I'll hit
skills with
every curve you
Mulan.
throw at me.
All right. So let me just get straight into it. I'm gonna say,
Refined, poised, punctual, and I just need to stay focused.
okay. So disclaimers up front. But I to this day haven't seen the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs movie to this day, and I know I need to. So that's the first thing I need to say that right now. The live action remake was my first like full my first full experience of the Snow White story. So of course, I've heard the songs beforehand. I've at least somewhat heard Whistle While You Work. I've of course heard Hi Ho. What else? Like I know the basic gist of it, but I've never fully seen it myself. And my controller's going low, so I may have to switch it at some point. So going in, wasn't expecting much. Okay. Often, I try to separate art from artists and stuff like that. So, but seeing as how, more than likely, he, some may wonder what I feel about the controversy surrounding it. So, Gal Gadot, I have no idea what she said. I have no idea. Nothing. All I know of is Rachel Zegler, whatever she said. So, first off, I ain't got nothing against Rachel Zegler or Gal Gadot. I ain't got nothing against them. So, from what I could tell from being an onlooker, it seems like the problem people had with Rachel Zegler was that to me, she said an absolutely valid point about the original movie. It was the way that she said it. The way she said it was wrong. And then people just used that one interview onward and never shut up about it, saying that when she said that it was creepy how the prince in Snow White like approached her and all that. I'm like, there have been videos and stuff making fun of this. So anyone who reviews the original film will call that out. But because she said it, being the actor of said character, it was a problem. Now, her not being the same complexion of Snow White, I can see grounds for concern or complaint. But to me, when it comes to an actor and stuff, often it can come down to, are they best suited for the role, or do they do a great job in said role? Well, one example I can think of is like Lilo in Lilo and Stitch. The actress, like I said in a previous video, great choice. She did a great job. Played Lilo to me to a T. But going into it, I was like, I could live with either. I could have lived with either one of these options, or three. A Hawaiian girl who can play the personality of Lilo. I could live with a non-Hawaiian who looks like Lilo and can play her. I'm fine with that. Or a Hawaiian girl who doesn't look like Lilo but has the character down. I would have been fine with any of those. So okay. Overall, I like this remake. Much like pretty much every single one that's come out beforehand. I like this one. So the
I've
okay,
outraced
I
the
don't think I
avalanche. This
my
should be
my
easy.
aerial is that high. 30, and I need it at 35. Okay, so for
You're not getting cold fins, are you? How do you put it on?
so for Snow White, um, I think the music
Beautiful.
was amazing. The music and the costumes design to me is a highlight of this film. Because
Let's make some waves.
all right, let me take a chance. Like the costuming was great because the dress looked amazing to me, and the hair was just fine because to me people were dogging on the hair, including this one YouTuber, which I respect his opinion, but sometimes I disagree with it. The YouTuber Smarty Pants. I think that's it. I think he's Australian. I think he's Australian. An Australian YouTuber who said like the hair was absolutely terrible, and I'm like, what are you talking about? It looks natural the way it looks in the film. It looks like it looks great. And then okay, the evil queen. I personally prefer the live action version of her crown. I prefer the live action crown of the evil queen over the original one because the original one, yes, it was made in an earlier time, Ivan Sub, and because of that, it looks plain. The live action one adds flair. It added flair to the character, to me. Darn it. I probably could have beat him. Probably could have won. I'll try again. It added flair. And then the fairest of them all song that she got was very good to me. Yeah, especially when they did it a like animated accurate look in the song sequence. I thought it looked amazing. I think my favorite song probably in the Snow White remake is Where the Good Things Grow, because I think that one genuinely sounds great. Hi Ho, I like it, and at first I didn't understand why the whistling wasn't there until later on in the film, where they say like the dwarves don't know how to whistle, so they changed that, and I'm cool with it. Let's see. Philip not being a prince, I'm cool with because being honest, like from what I can tell, Prince Philip, no, I think Prince Philip is Aurora. That's Sleeping Beauty. The prince in Snow White, I'm pretty sure he has a name, but I don't know. But he only appears at the start and then at the end, and many theories have conspired on if he was real or if he was like the manifestation of death taking her to the afterlife. So it's like that of any character, that was one prince where I'm like he like literally just a pretty face, nothing more, or he had nothing much of anything to add to the story. So the live action changing his character to be a common man and a rebellion fighter and a thief was a welcome change. What else? Let's see. That's another one. Having the explanation on how the evil queen came into power was great. Having the explanation of how she took power, what happened to Snow White's family, great choice. And then the change in the message from being about like the fairest of them all being about physical beauty but this one, and then this one being more on inner beauty, who you are as a person, your personality, was a great choice. It's a better message to send today. It's a better message to send nowadays is to audiences. What else? Okay, next. Okay, need Cinderella for that. I have so much of them though. I haven't done this so. Missions. So what else? Like from the start, and I think y'all noticed. Okay, I'm gonna try this again because y'all likely noticed that in my content experiment video, I looked specifically at this Elizabeth Swan mission and didn't do it at all. And I feel stupid for that. Okay, so
What do you think we'll see today?
So, okay, let's see. The whole debacle with the 7 dwarves. Oh my goodness, oh my gosh. The whole debacle with the 7 dwarves. First up, Peter Dinklage, I think, messed up what could have been an opportunity for 7 actors with dwarfism to get to do a great performance. Literally, oh my gosh, like the fact that they, because he opened his mouth and said that it was derogatory to have the dwarves in the film. So he messed up what could have been a great opportunity for up and coming or long-standing like actors with dwarfism to get an amazing once in a lifetime role. Like, okay, and then when it was either maybe at one point like the those who ended up being the rebellion fighters, like the bandits, may have been the dwarves, maybe, but whenever they added them to the cast, I think switching, if that was the intention, switching back to the dwarves being magical creatures was the best choice. And literally, when the designs of the dwarves were revealed, I was fine with it, because in my mind, and I've said this, like on particularly any Smarty Pants video on the Snow White 8 trailers. Like, my personal standard is, if your CG is not unbearable to look at, like, to me, the way the Flash, like DCEU's The Flash CGI is. If your CG is not to that level and I can look at it, I'm good. Because The Flash's CG was the first time where I personally ever felt the effects of Uncanny Valley, where it was like I didn't even want to look at the screen because it bothered me so much. So the 7 dwarves to me were not, like, they were fine. They were okay. Could they have been better? Yeah, they could have. But they also could have been worse, in my opinion. They could have been worse. And I know only 2. Great. All right, next. Let's see what else. so I can get somewhere I can get closer. All right. 3 skills, manual boost, drift. All right.
We've got work to do, soldier.
So let's see. The huntsman being a black man ain't got a problem with that. Ain't got a problem with that. And that's almost generally how I feel about race swapping in general. Well, to me, race swapping ain't that big of an issue if it's done with if it's done with purpose, with meaningful purpose, or 2, when it's with a character who doesn't. If it's with a character with a non-important role, like the huntsman. The huntsman being changed is not a problem to me. Now the skit. Let's see. I like how they did the mirror, the magic mirror. That was like, it always looked nice. Let's see. Okay, I do think that the evil queen could have been shown to be more cruel. If she's supposed to be the evil queen, we should have seen it more. Like when they said to have, oh my goodness, I keep wanting to call him Philip. I need to look up the character's name in the remake, but having him be stripped, then then soaking wet out in the cold on the gate. I would have thought at least actually strip him down because he's wearing the exact clothes that he was captured in. He was in the same exact clothes. They didn't do much of nothing to him. And maybe I think he was I think he was drenched in water. I don't, man. It's been a little while since I saw it in theater, so I don't remember. But and then when the huntsman lied to her. Okay, the pig's heart could have worked. I'm like, the fact that he had put an apple in, nice cheeky touch, but it could have been funnier. It would have been the pig's heart could have still worked, and it's the fact that in the original apparently we only see the huntsman apparently when he forces her to run to the forest, but in this one he's brought to the queen for his betrayal. And to me, okay, locking him up, okay, at least he was used later. They used him later, so that I can almost excuse, but it's the fact that she threatened him to feel her. You will feel my wrath, or you will know how cruel I can be. Locking him away is not enough. Like there are so many ways she could have tortured him or something like that. I guess I wanted more villainous behavior. That's what I wanted. I wanted more villainous behavior.
I feel especially motivated.
I dreamed of doing something exciting.
I wanted the evil queen to be more villainous, I guess. Let's see.
The game is changed.
All right, places, everyone. Get ready.
Dopey. Okay, I personally I like the change they did with his voice, actually having him speak. And then okay, not speaking because he's afraid if people would make fun of him for his voice. Well, I can see it because literally right now, what you're hearing through this microphone, whenever I speak, I don't hear what you guys hear or what other people hear, because something's up with, I think, my ears, where it's when I talk, I hear a much different voice. I don't hear the deep voice that everyone else hears. So when I listen to playback of my own voice, I'm almost taken aback or thrown off a little bit every time I hear my voice. So, and then when I realized that
Papa's going to be so proud.
when I realized at the end, of course it took me to the end to realize it, that Dopey is the narrator of the story. That was a nice touch.
There's so much out here to discover.
Let's see what else. Okay, the visual effects for the animals in Snow White at least say to me that if Disney decides to do a live action Bambi, they have the resources to do it, because the deer in there looked amazing. It looked perfect. So if they wanted to do a live action Bambi, I at least there's a standard of what a deer can look like in Disney's animation catalog or CGI catalog. That's like we know what you can do. What else? Okay, this film was colorful, and I love it, because I can get what what may say about Disney, these movies feeling like desaturated or less colorful. I can see that. Like, one prime example I can think of is Peter Pan and Wendy. And I'll probably do a review of that one, even though it's been a while. I can still remember main points I had about it, but that movie felt rather desaturated, where it didn't have a lot of color, whereas Snow White has that color. Like, I see it plain as day. Or the difference between the castle, like when you're at the castle and when you're at the dwarves' cottage, the color changes and you can tell, and I love that. I love it. I love how bright, when you're around animals and nature and stuff, how bright and colorful it is. Let's see what else. Oh no. Okay. What else? The love arc in Snow White, I will admit it's a bit fast paced, but pretty much every Disney romance except for Mulan and Shang, pretty much except for Mulan and Shang, every Disney romance is rushed. Every single romance is rushed or fast paced. So I'm basically complaining about the system that Disney uses. Let's see what else. Okay, the ending. Okay, I do like how after Snow White bites the apple, like, the queen celebrates. Like, we get to see her celebrate in her victory. I do like seeing that. Why not? I like to see that instead of what the original one does, where it's immediately after it, the dwarves go after the queen. What else?
Anyone want to throw the discus around? This ain't the roller rink. I'll see them wriggle like a
What else?
Here goes nothing.
Okay, I do agree with a point. Like, many of the points that the YouTuber, the Birdman 13, or just basically the Birdman, like points that he made in his review of of Snow White, I agree with. If I stand with where it's like the ending was a bit anticlimactic, because if the guards were to break from the evil queen spell by remembering who they are, that could have worked. I just wish we could have seen like either an aura in their eyes, like a magic spell or trance on them, and then having Snow White tell them who they used to be, and you see it break. Like if you gave the guards this dark aura or presence around them, and then you see it break, that could have made it work better, in my opinion. And I'd say having Snow White fight for her people was a great choice. I guess it's because I like seeing these active protagonists, whether it be male or females, having them be active in their plot. Now we can have some that are more passive, absolutely. Yeah, I do think we shouldn't get rid of all passive protagonists to only have proactive or preemptive characters. But having Snow White fight for her people was a great choice and change for me, because it's an adaptation of a work, and an adaptation can be different from the original thing, for better or for worse. What else? Let's see.
I know exactly what to do with that.
Okay. If the evil queen's thing is magic, what power level is she at? Because is it where she can only control people, like we know from the transformation scene, and she has this book, she has this cult, like this evil lair, which I love the design. When they did the recreation of the cape twirl down a set of stairs, that was excellent. And then the transformation into the hag was great. The turning of the apple to a skull, was nice. I personally prefer what the original thing is, with just the green liquid falling in the shape of it. Or if you were going to do it, have it be a little more green, because honestly the Disney villain green is my favorite color. So let's see, like if Snow White, she didn't per se have to fight, because being honest, why would she know how to fight in this film? But having a confrontation with evil queen with the magic mirror, for example, where the queen tries to attack her, and all she can do is run and dodge, and that leads to how the queen dies, by being crystallized and sucked into the mirror. I think that could have been more climactic. Having her wake up from the sleep, the way that's done, I like that. Let's see. What is I know I'm forgetting stuff. I'm forgetting something. Okay, I do think that while Snow White in the film did have an effect on people it could have been more like what the original one apparently did, where her kindness encourages the dwarves and others to see through the evil queen's rouge of using magic as a source of fear, and then showing that either that without that fear she has no power, or without that fear she still has power. For example, how she made that glass knife. That was excellent. That was amazing. I wish we just got more of that. So I generally like the movie overall, and I am fully willing to admit the movie flopped. I completely acknowledge it. It did not make the money that I don't know how much Disney wanted from it, but it didn't make that. And I was just looking it up. Like it had a over $100 million loss, so that's a shame. But Lilo and Stitch made up the difference. And one thing I find funny, or irritating and funny, is how people use this to say how much of Snow White was a failure based on what Lilo and Stitch made. And sure, that's a metric you could use, but my thing is like, if you look at the original, like, I'd have to look it up, but even the original Lilo and Stitch versus is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, like you already, like, I'm willing to argue, like, the original Lilo and Stitch has a better story than the original Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And I'm willing to guess it, even though Lilo and Stitch apparently didn't do much at the box office when it first came out, the original, I'm willing to guess it made more, but that inflation almost has to do something with that, so I'd have to look it up. But a live action remake of Snow White versus Seven Dwarfs, anyone could have stated that Lilo and Stitch is going to beat that, even if Snow White was an amazing story, even if it was absolutely perfect all around, and Lilo and Stitch was absolutely botched, which some people for some reasonable and some unreasonable reasons think that the live action remake botched the original. Like, Lilo and Stitch still would have beat Snow White regardless. So I'm like, you're pointing out something that was, to me, obvious was going to happen. And at the same time, when you use, just knocked something over by mistake. Something that I find funny on that metric is that, you know what else Lilo and Stitch beat in a landslide in box office? Transformers 1. Lilo and Stitch beat Transformers 1, no question. You know what else it beat? The Wild Robot. I looked it up. So far, Lilo and Stitch, right now, as of June 12th, stands at 731 million worldwide, and in its run, the Wild Robot made $333.8 million. So Lilo and Stitch doubled what Wild Robot made. And I also know that Lilo and Stitch beat the Bad Guys, and unfortunately, I feel Bad Guys 2 won't match what Lilo and Stitch, the live action, is making. So it's like, and that's why I'm comparing it to. So it's like that same argument can be used on films that we love, of not just the movies these people don't like or hate. So anyway, so Okay, last time when I did the Lilo and Stitch review, I wanted to leave a number rating, but didn't. But it cut off before I could finish it. So for Lilo and Stitch, I would probably give it a 6.5 to 7.5 out of 10. And then the original Lilo and Stitch, definitely a 7. Definitely a 7. Between 7 and 7.5. And then for the Snow White remake, and I need to see the original, but right now Snow White for me stands at I'd say it stands at a 6. I think I'd give it a 6. It's a 5 to a 6 because it's average. It's an average film. It's the most average film, probably one of the most average films I've ever seen. It did exactly what it needed to do. It did what it needed to do, made some changes and stuff, and at the end of the day, I had a good time, which is what I wanted out of it. So anyway, thank y'all for watching this video. Hope y'all enjoyed it. What did you think of the live action Snow White? If you've seen it, please let me know. And at some point, I'll probably get to the other live action remakes like Peter Pan and Wendy and stuff like that. So comment, like, subscribe, share this video. Hope you enjoyed it. React to my madness. I will see you in the next one. See y'all later.